I wanted to talk a little about wiring and how this can look scary and then how it can look less scary, but still work. There's still a fair amount of work to put in it. So here's the Mazda truck. And we have the Mercedes motor. Then we have the motor mount we still have to weld on. It'll go on like this. But we have the whole harness coming out right here. So everything coming out of here is what the motor is connected to. And that's including the transmission. So we have transmission stuff coming out of here as well. Might be a separate harness right here. But I have this car and a Mercedes and the motorcycle. And those three are wired the same. Oh, and a diesel, but that needs a motor. So those three are wired the same. And what we're looking at is every injector, we're gonna have two wires because there's only a solenoid inside of an injector. So we'll have two wires coming out of each port, which would be 6-cylinder on this one. So I have 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6, as where the Mercedes is straight. So we'll have 6 in a row. So if we walk over to this side, well actually, right here, so we'll have 1, 2, 3, and these will ignite the coil, power, ground, and signal. So you have to have a high current ignition driver in the ECU, and then what it'll do is it'll send, it looks like that center wire, no, center wire, see how we have different colors? So if we look for pink and blue, up here we can see pink right here, and then blue's right there, but there's a lot of blue. So we'll take a voltmeter, check the blue with this blue right here, that pin, and we'll just find the wire that way. But then we know, okay, we have our 6 coil igniters, right? And then we have 6 of the injectors. And if we look over here, we have a pump. And so this pump is just 12 volts, so that's positive, negative. It just turns it on. Then if we look down, we have some solenoids right here, which are the same as a injector. It's just for air, for vacuum. And it opens a plenum inside of here. So we can put that on a separate circuit, and we could actuate that at a certain RPM. It can just be a GPIO pin, general purpose input and output. So we'll have it output a signal, right, to turn on a transistor and open this guy at maybe 2700 RPM. So we have the low end, and then we open them, and then we have our top end. Transmission, that's gonna have solenoids in it too. And yeah, that's like having all injectors. So you'll just have only injectors, pretty much. They're all solenoids in the back on the transmission. The Mercedes doesn't have an electronic transmission, and that's why I like the 700 R4 Chevy motor, because that's going to be a vacuum operated transmission. So every wire will trace up to here. So say we only end up with 6 injectors, 6 ignition, trigger wheel, throttle position, grounds. Say we end up with this many. Right, that means the rest we're not going to need right now. Right, we're just getting it running. So we have these, right? I have my body harness. I have my body harness going here, which I had to redo some wires, and then I could wrap it. And then I have the actual ECU harness. So these are all the pins that would come in. Okay, yeah, these are from the motor, and these relays. And over here, we have the same thing, but instead of wiring an ECU, it's controlling this big DC motor. So DC motor only takes positive, negative, right? And then this backside is the encoder, which you have an A, B, and then they're differential, so it's A and then minus A, and then B minus B, and then plus 5 volts and ground. And we feed that into this controller here. So these come in here. I think it goes power, ground, A, and then B channel. And then we have our output for our injectors right here. And these go all the way down into here. And that's the signal input. And the other one's the common. And that'll drive the motor while getting feedback from the encoder from here. So this does all the controlling. This does the actual power to the motor, because that's really high current. You can see the MOSFETs. They're pretty big. And then we have our DC motor that goes to a 4th axis in this case, but it could be a stepper motor for a throttle position, because most throttle positions are a stepper motor. And that is this. It's right there. Here's the throttle body. So the throttle body has wires coming up to here as well. And we can control that same way. So yeah, just wanted to go over how you have similarities between engine wiring and then automation. And then we have our communications will come from here. It'll go down and it'll come up. And what I've been using lately is just the Arduino firmware, or IDE, and this Vibertune now. Oh, battery's low. And this is the diesel motor that came out of the truck. Yeah, so this came out of the truck, and now it's a m112 or 13. I think it's a m113 motor, V6, and it has the 7226 transmission, 722.6, and then the 190E has the 722.3. So this is how I pretty much did the Mercedes other one. I'll do the same thing with this one, and I'll go more in depth on how that was done.